everybody. Today is Sunday, April 23rd, 2023 in the great Garden State. It's a little bit after 4 and we have a couple stories for you today. The first one regards a reoccurring character on our channel, the now retired Howell Township Police Chief, Andrew Kudrick. According to the Howell, New Jersey Patch, Howell's ex-chief, Kudrick, charged in sexual harassment cover-up. No bueno, chief. The now retired Howell Township Police Chief is facing criminal charges after he allegedly lied in a township sex harassment investigation and threatened a high-ranking member of the police department to cover up a sexual affair with a subordinate, according to State Attorney General Matthew J. Platkin. Kudrick, 49, of Farmingdale, who retired from his position as the Howell Township Police Chief in March 2022, after the conduct alleged in the complaint, has currently been charged with second-degree official misconduct, as well as false swearing, tampering with public records, tampering with and retaliating against witnesses, obstruction of the law, and a partridge in a pear tree, according to a press conference with the charges. Kudrick was served with a complaint summons as opposed to a warrant, which means that a Superior Court judge decided to release him on his own recognizance. Under the conditions of his release, he has to he has to surrender all of his firearms and cannot have any contact with the victims. Now, I don't know about you folks, but since me and John began covering Andrew Kudrick, he's always came across as one of these guys who's holier than thou, and now it's looking like he's the do as I say, not as I do type. It's very disheartening for us. Kudrick is currently represented by Robert A. Honecker. I'm going to invite my good friend, Mr. John Van Dyke, into the picture. Hey, John. How are you, sir?
What's up, Matt? Let's see if I can get in the picture here without getting too close.
That lawyer, Robert...
Scoot over just a little bit. There you go, right there.
That lawyer, Robert Honecker, do we know that name?
Well, that name rings a bell in my head. Doing, doing, doing. He was a former prosecutor here in Monmouth County. Now he's in private practice.
So wait a minute. So he was a former prosecutor, so he's connected, or he knows all the judges?
Oh, I'm sure he is connected.
Oh.
You know, there's go-to lawyers when these bad cops, or allegedly bad cops, get in trouble. There's always certain lawyers they go see. Usually it's the Ansel law firm you hear about all the time.
And where does Robert Honecker work, John? Ansel.
That's right, he works for Ansel. You're absolutely right. I left out that little tidbit there. Ansel's busy with another police officer, which we'll get to that one in a little bit.
Monmouth County's PBA is saying...
I'm telling you, Monmouth County is ground zero for bad cops here in New Jersey. What a coincidence. Here I am operating out of Monmouth County. So go ahead, read the rest of that story, because explain to everybody how Kudrick got himself in trouble. But let me just say one thing before he talks. The reason Kudrick retired because there was a scandal brewing, and he was advised that it would be a good idea to step down from his $235,000 a year job that he had. He was the highest paid police chief here in Monmouth County.
And now he gets a pension, probably what, 185, 189?
Well, if things go right, he won't be getting a pension. so read the rest of the story.
But currently, he's getting a pension of $16,000 a month. 16 grand a month.
That's amazing.
John, there have been years when I haven't cleared 16
I don't think you
grand.
and I together making 16,000 a month.
No.
Not that I make a lot of money. But
no, but not together. I don't think together you and I a year make 16.
No.
No.
So read that story and tell everybody why he got in trouble, how he got in trouble.
Kudrick's attorney, Robert...
Let me interrupt you. I'll give you a little hint. Captain Dick Johnson was at the helm steering the ship.
His little head was in charge. His big head was missing in action.
Yes.
Kudrick's attorney, Robert A. Honecker of Ocean Township, said Kudrick is innocent and is a respected law enforcement official who vigorously denies the charges.
What's he supposed to do? Get up and say, yeah, I porked the bitch and I'm behind my wife and now I got caught. What's it? You know, there's always such a stupid thing. Excuse me, Mr. Kudrick? Yeah. You have anything to say about that? I deny all of it.
He pulled a Bill Clinton. I had no sexual relations with that
no
woman.
sexual relations with that woman. He redefined blowjobs as not being sex.
That's right.
Well,
That's right. It
I don't
never.
know, is that a bad thing?
It only went in one bodily orifice. All right, John.
Oh my God. So anyway,
Okay.
you know,
Falling into political
Go ahead.
disfavor does not make Andrew Kudrick a criminal. Wow, isn't that rich? How already the lawyers are trying to spin this as if this case is a political hit job. Isn't that rich?
But he's not running for any office.
Exactly. What threat does Andrew pose?
One thing I'll say about Kudrick is I never see any connection between him and the Republican Party out here in Monmouth County.
No.
I don't see him rubbing elbows with Sean Golden, the chief, the sheriff here in Monmouth County. I don't see him doing any of that. He was busy tooting his own horn in his own town.
That's right. That's right. He was busy overfunding his municipal army in Howell Township.
Oh, unbelievable.
And basically, he really didn't necessarily march to Golden's drums. He was doing his own thing out there in Howell Township.
So read there and tell everybody what he was up to.
Howell Township Howell Township government responded to the charges by saying, in part, it believes in due process and has no comment about the pending charges against Chief Kudrick at this time. Additionally, the township has no pending actions against Chief Kudrick yet, but will continue to evaluate the situation as it unfolds. Let's stop right there. Let's reread that line. That they currently have no pending actions. Does it sound like they're trying to give a heads up that they may potentially sue Chief Kudrick? The township could sue him or try to yank his pension? Certainly reads that way to me, John, when they say that the township has no pending...
Now, did you miss the part where it says what the charges stem from?
The charges against him? No, I read all that already.
You did?
Yeah. But
well, here's the deal. Here's what I know. We're not reading the actual article that I want to pull up, but anyway. So what happened was, I guess they were having a little party. I don't know if it was this going away party or what, but there was a party going on, and Kudrick showed up with his wife, and then the side chick was there, and apparently the wife caught wind of this thing, and the wife had a blowout with the side chick.
There was drama.
There was drama at this party.
Cat fight.
So the story goes is that, you know, allegedly has a side chick going on, and people got wind of it, and charges or investigation going to be brought up on him, and I think it was the captain was going to do something, and Kudrick threatened the captain, and it was a whole nonsense about this, and then Kudrick tried to suppress evidence and remove records. It's all alleged now, and
yes.
So, you know, the guy's out there getting laid, okay, and he got caught, and so now all these charges are being brought against him, and I guess they're waiting to see if they can really get some charges going, because they didn't arrest him per se. Just gave him a summons.
Well, he's facing heavy charges, John.
Right.
They just made the determination to release him on his own recognizance. I mean, I'm glad that they have that kind of faith in his demeanor and his character, that he's not going to try and tamper with any witnesses.
Well, you know, this is the same guy. A couple of years ago, about 5-6 years ago, we had a Sergeant Conte, Richard Conte, who was caught trying to lure a 15-year-old and told her he wanted to lay naked with her and party with her. Unfortunately, the person he told he wanted to lay naked with was another police officer.
An undercover cop.
An undercover cop. Now, nobody knows what's going on with that story, but anyway.
And Conte was,
He was in charge of the SWAT team here in Monmouth County.
Yeah.
He was also a sergeant. But, you know, Kudrick, much, you know, I gave him credit for it. He didn't waste no time. He fired the guy. He got up there. He had a big press conference in front of headquarters. I don't tolerate this. None of this crap's going to happen. You know, we're all law officers. You know, we got to follow the law.
He came out in front of the story, basically.
Yeah.
Kudrick.
You know, he's sitting there tooting his horn, pushing his cop again. And how ironic now that the guy who thinks he's all that, because personally, I have never personally met him. I've been in the same room with him, and I don't think he knew I was in the same room. Might not have a good outcome if he did. But anyway, I see him as being a pompous asshole. You know, he walks around with his big, he works out. You know, I want to say he's on steroids. I don't know that for sure. But, you know, the guy's in his late 40s, he's pretty jacked up.
And he's not
a
big guy. He's not a big
No, he's like my height, but his arms are jacked up, and his sheds are jacked up. You know, and he shows up, and Make $234,000 a year to be a police chief. To do what? And the PBA of Howell Township had a vote of non-confidence of him. So you see, this is why the guy retired, because the shit was falling. The dominoes are starting to fall down.
Shit was coming at him in all directions.
That's right. So your police officers don't like you, and you're taking advantage allegedly of a female, sexual advances on her. I heard he came up and was kissing a lady or something on the. It's just unbelievable what goes on. And one thing I know about police officers, they can't keep it in their pants. Some of them do it the right way, others do it the wrong way. Some get arrested, some like child porn, those kind of things. But that's the underlying, reoccurring theme that I hear, whether it's cops that are cops right now or cops that are retired that I happen to know and I'm friends with, and they tell me the little stories about the badge bunnies, and they use that badge to their full extent, okay? So
they use it for everything it's worth.
They use it for everything it's worth. Even when they're retired, they got their retired badge, and then they got their little undercover, their concealed weapon. So anyway, so we have a police chief here in Monmouth County by the name of a former police chief of Howell Township by the name of Andrew Kudrick.
He's facing 6 felony charges. 6.
All stemming allegedly, because he couldn't keep his private parts in his pants, and he allowed Captain Dick Johnson to steer the ship.
I'm going to give you my take on this, John.
Go ahead.
I'm not the #1 flag-waving Andrew Kudrick fan in the world, okay?
Well, we know who is. Unfortunately, she's in jail right now. All right, let's talk about that too. What the hell? You get 2 for 1 today. 2 stories for 1, all right?
John, do me a favor. Put up
and
the
you're
picture.
getting 2 narrators here.
Put up the picture in this of them together.
No.
Yes.
So, Jen Combs a while back in her auditing days when she was out gathering content for an arrest, went over to Howell Township, and one of the funniest videos she ever did, she's in the public area of the police station, and this lieutenant comes out, and the lieutenant looked like his head was ready to explode. So anyway, things don't go well for her in any way. So the chief reaches out. Next thing you know, she's on they're going to send her to the Citizens Police Academy. And they gave her an EMS hat and a T-shirt and all
coloring book and crayons.
Some coloring books and some crayons, and all of a sudden she was the champion of Kudrick. Now let me tell you another thing that Kudrick did. It's another guy. He's sitting there lecturing us, telling us what to do. But a while back, I did a story on this. There was 2 police officers from Howell Township went into a Five Guys hamburger restaurant. For those of you who don't know what Five Guys is, you're not missing anything. They basically fry a hamburger, they put it on a roll, they wrap it in tin foil, they dump these potato fries into the bag, they throw the hamburger and they crunch it and they hand it to you. It's the worst, it's disgusting, that's all I can say.
We ate a much better burger than that today.
Oh, yes.
A much better burger than Five Guys.
The poorhouse in Shrewsbury. So anyway,
we are living in the poorhouse.
What happens, these 2 officers go in there to get lunch or whatever, and there's a gentleman working behind the counter, and he had a few things. He was exercising his First Amendment right, and he was expressing himself to the officers. Now, I'm not making excuses for the kid. He should not have been doing it on company time. He should have waited till he was off the job to express himself. So anyway, the kid got fired. So Andrew Kudrick, rather than going and getting the guy, I personally think Kudrick should have got the kid and had him sit down with the police officers to have lunch together, and so that the kid can see the officers as people, not as police officers. And that would have been the way to do it. But no, Kudrick couldn't do that. He had to stir the pot. So now the kid's got more contempt for police. So he shows up and he does a little PR stunt with the manager of Five Guys. And there he is getting his picture taken. I'm like, what
the kid gets fired.
The kid's out of a job because he's got some axe to grind because some cop probably did him wrong, and this would have been a golden opportunity for Kudrick to maybe right that wrong in his head or try to help things along, because really the kid can't go through life like that.
To de-escalate it a little bit.
Yeah, he could have de-escalated the whole thing.
But he did not de-escalate.
And he could have been a hero. Instead, he took full advantage of that kid and threw him under the bus and made him look bad, and
he chose to be a zero instead of a hero.
Exactly. So anyway, so that is our Andrew Kudrick. And so what do you think is going to happen? See, now, I know how they operate. Now, they get you with a bunch of charges, and then they're going to hammer out a little deal. So the big deal that Mr. Kudrick has to worry about is what?
Pension.
Is pension.
Whether or not the state tries to yank it or not. But what I'll tell you is this, okay? You have a lot of moving parts here from a lawyer's point of view. You have Andrew Kudrick there, who's probably scratching his head trying to figure out what the hell to do. You have Uncle Phil and his attorney general, who are waving the Me Too flag, or the Me 3 flag in this case, trying to be an advocate of women's rights.
That's the state that's prosecuting that, right?
What? Yes.
Yes, the state. So he doesn't have any connections now.
Well, he has no connections with the prosecutor, but I mean, it's still playing on home court turf. The case is still being heard at Monmouth County Superior Court in front of a Monmouth County judge and jury. Well, he better hope that he gets in front of a Republican judge and not a Democrat judge. Because here in Monmouth County, half the bench is Democrat and the other half is Republican. And our state prosecutor is Democrat. The state attorney general, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Democrat.
So the moving pieces go. You got Kudrick, who's, like I said, he's probably scratching his head legally. He doesn't know what the hell to do. He probably hasn't deduced the equation in his head yet. You have Uncle Phil and his attorney general that are doing this for political purposes, indisputably, to try and buttress their reputations as women's rights advocates. And then you have the Township of Howell that's caught in the middle of it, because now here you have this female employee that's suing for sexual harassment.
Oh, that brings up another topic.
And then you have this police, and they have that police captain that he's suing the township because he's claiming he was retaliated against.
So, here's the deal, because say Kudrick beats most of the charges and comes out with his
Let's say he beats them all, criminally.
Say he beats them all. He said beats. We were talking about Beavis and Butthead earlier. Anyway, so
does he beat them all, or does she beat them all?
I don't know. So the deal is, he may beat the criminal charges, but there's still, he did this allegedly while on the job, so that connects the town to the problem. And as we know in civil court, it's a 51%. You only got to get 1% more on the other side and you win. So what's going to happen, there is going to be a civil lawsuit. I suspect maybe the captain will have one. The women or ladies or women, whatever you want to call them, whoever the victims were, they're going to sue too. So, once again, the taxpayers are going to flip the bill for this misconduct.
Exactly.
But,
exactly, John.
And Kudrick being married, now I suspect whether he beats the charges or not, he's going to, when he gets done with criminal court, he's going to be civil court, and he's going to be in family court, because
she's going to get divorced.
She's going to get divorced and take half his pension.
I don't know. I mean, if she cared enough to get into a fight over him at the party, I mean, she may stick with him.
Why would she stick with him? He's 49, going on 50. She's probably right up there too. She can get rid of him, get half his pension.
You're married to somebody, you got kids.
I mean, what do you want to do? You want to stick with a guy that's fooling around on you, or divorce him, get $8,000 a month, and live on your own? Then you can go out and find another police officer to
bank, to build.
Yeah. So, anyway, you got anything else to say, Matt?
No.
I think we beat this one to. Today's word is beat.
And Andrew, if you're listening to this, I hope you beat the charges, and I hope you don't have to beat yourself.
Yeah, I think he's doing a lot of that one. I don't think the wife is too happy with him anyway. All right, I'm John Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed.
I'm Matt Tim.
Till next time, people.